old Nintendo gamer.
And son.
Greg, what have you been up to?
Well, Donkey Kong Country, the first one, is the best one, and you won't change my mind on that. And yeah, A Link to the Past, I think as soon as you get to the Dark World, that's when it takes a nosedive for me. But anyway, I've also put the finishing touches to a Galaxy game as well, Super Mario Galaxy 2, which you may remember I spoke about towards the end of last year. Or maybe it was earlier in the year, I'm not sure. I can't remember myself, but finished it with 242 stars. So yeah, it was good, but slightly nervous in the fact that I'm not sure if I consider it my favourite game ever anymore. So yeah, that kind of makes me almost reluctant to go back to the first Galaxy in 3D All Stars, because I might not I might not enjoy it as much as I did previously as well. But I don't want to say too much about it because like I spoke about it before. But the Grand Master Galaxy at the end was probably not quite as difficult as I maybe remembered in my head. I still took quite a few goes to get through, but most of the sections of the last level were pretty straightforward. So it was almost more of a test of like your patience. So just like having to go through all that bits again to get to sort of like the trickier sections of the level. But yeah, I was glad when I done it. The only other thing I want to say is that some of the green stars that I had to get through it, I think in the first Galaxy, the green stars are basically just you're going through the levels again as Luigi, and you're just getting the same stars you would have done with Mario, but it just controls a wee bit differently. At least in Galaxy 2, the green stars are different. They're like maybe like 2 or 3 stars placed in different locations in each of the levels, and it sort of makes you go out of your way to get them and like explore like sort of strange areas. And some of them are really like tricky to get in terms of like you may see them usually like when you're going through the level, you'll hear them sort of like glistening or whatever, and that lets you know you're nearby to one. And like sometimes you can like look through Mario's eyes to like see where it is if it's not obvious where it is, but then other times like the camera won't let you go in and see where it is, so like that can be a problem on some occasions. But the main thing that I had issue with was like the depth perception of some of them, because there's a few where you have to like sort of like make a big jump off something maybe, and you may miss it a tiny little bit either in the foreground or the background, and it's really, really difficult to tell. But I got them eventually, but I would definitely produced a few irritating moments. But overall, great Mario game, and glad I played through it again. Apart from that, I've somehow got into Gran Turismo Sport this month, and I know it's probably in your sort of wheelhouse, like that sort of game. I'm not sure if you've actually ever played a Gran Turismo game before.
I touched upon the first Gran Turismo on the original PS that came out, wasn't it? Yeah, when my brother had a PS and I was taking holidays from university, I come back at Christmas or whatever. We had a couple of games on Gran Turismo, but I haven't spent any time with any of the other ones, that's for sure. A little time with the first one.
Yeah, these sort of realistic like simulation racing games most of the time aren't really for me. I mean, you have like Drive Club there, which definitely isn't like a simulation sort of game, but it's in that sort of ballpark in a way. That would be more my style generally. But I gave Gran Turismo Sport a go because it was like $7.99 on sale in the PlayStation Store a few weeks ago. And I kind of have to say, like, I've been kind of getting into it. Like, I remember when it first came out, there was talk about, it's pretty much online only. It doesn't really have a single player and all this sort of stuff. But I'm not sure what's been updated since then or whatever, but the single player component seems to be pretty much like it was in games that I would have played in the past in the franchise. So you have your licenses to obtain, and then you have like your different categories and all these different races, and you have to own like specific cars to be able to do like certain races and stuff. And there seems to be loads of stuff to do there, and I've done a decent wee chunk of it so far, but the most exhilarating aspect of it so far for me, and I've only done it very briefly, is like the GT Sport mode, which is actually going online, and there's like scheduled races like every 10 minutes or so. So you'll like choose a race. You can maybe like even choose it like 20 minutes beforehand or whatever, pick that race, and then in the time leading up to that race you can like go and do like qualifying laps around it, as much as you want, just to get the best time, and then whenever the time comes you'll be put into the race with these other people and you'll be put into your position. And I started
that sounds fun.
Yeah, and I'm not particularly good at these sorts of games, so like when I was doing like qualifying laps, I thought, that's a pretty good lap, and then realizing like I'm like 6th or 7th on the grid, and there's people with like pure crazy times, and it's like, yeah, these people are going to be good. So started into the race, and it's just like, obviously when you're playing against like computer controlled racers, it's a different sort of experience, and you know that the game's sort of programmed that you will eventually be able to like win those races if you're like good enough or whatever. But when you're playing against like proper human controlled cars, it's like, wow, it's really, really difficult. So like my first race, like I think it must have started like, maybe it was like 8th on the grid or something, and managed to finish the race in 6th. And like, it doesn't sound like much, but that's felt like such an achievement that I was actually able to overtake, because there's like the way the game works is you have to play with sportsmanship. You have to race properly. If you hit into other cars, like your sportsmanship's gonna go down and you're gonna get like time penalties and stuff. So like you have to play properly really. So that was just really exhilarating feeling that like, if I make one wee slip up here, like I'm dropping down the pack. So I've been pleasantly surprised and hoping to play some more of it online, but yeah, getting the opportunities not always easy. But yeah, sort of pleasantly surprised. Didn't think I would like it as much as I have been so far. So yeah, pretty cool.
You are turning into a racer, huh? You've all these drive clubs and F1 next.
To be fair, I've actually always really liked racing games, but it's been particularly in Nintendo platforms, apart from Mario Kart, there hasn't really been an awful lot. Like, not like it was in the old days, but we don't need to go into like Wii racing F-Zero and stuff again. Yeah, I think it was actually one of the races in Drive Club that really sort of like got me into that sort of mindset where like shaving seconds off your time is like satisfying, because there was one race I must have done it 100 times and just could not beat the time to get the 3 stars or whatever, and eventually I done it. I was like, yeah, it felt good. So yeah, I'd definitely be playing Gran Turismo some more.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.